Five Zabs!
Welcome to Five Zabs. I'm Evan, and this is my dad, Lance. Being it's our first official episode, let's lay it out for you.
Our intent is simple, to help you find something solid to watch. Currently, we think we all do about the same things when we're looking for something to watch. You randomly search, you might look at the top 10 most watched lists, you could look at the rankings on the streaming service, you might look at an outside ranking system, or you go by word of mouth. Let's walk through all those just real quick. The top 10s are brutal. They are more of what's come out versus really to quantify quality. It's more of just what's been out or what they want us to watch. The independents seem to be somewhat biased in our opinion and not really help you work to where you're trying to find something to watch. When you look at the rankings on the streaming services, every movie or show is a 4 to 4.5.
So we decided a while back to create a ranking system more aligned with how we consume entertainment today and in a way you can actually use to make viewing decisions.
Let's look at the ranking system. Introducing 5 Zabs. Each beaker represents a Zab. We've got an overall description of each ranking, as well as a little bit more of an explanation to really help identify that ranking. Start with 5 Zabs. It's fantastic. Actively telling people to watch and checking if they did.
4 Zabs. Really good. Watch it. Quality entertainment.
We then move on to 3 Zabs. It's all right. Better than searching.
2 Zabs. Industry. It's exactly what you thought it would be. Not good.
And then we have 1 Zab. Quite frankly, it's garbage, and it actually changes your mood and possibly anger.
We've also put together a structure for each episode.
So each episode, we'll go through 5 titles, each giving our ranking across a variety of topics. The 5th being a throwback every episode, going back in time to see if we can identify some quality entertainment from before. We'll then do an underrated from each of us, something that just isn't getting the buzz or the play that we feel it deserves, to make sure everyone's checking those out. And then finally, each episode, we'll do an all-time by different categories, whether it's westerns or comedies or documentaries, to give you another choice that you could go watch.
Let's go through a few rules and FYIs. Number 1 rule, no spoilers. You can watch it, but we're not giving nothing away.
Next rule, we won't be mentioning the streaming service. It's too hard to keep up, so we'll be giving the titles. You'll have to find out where they're at.
We're not big movie theater people. We don't go to the movies every week.
If something came out on Friday, we won't be reviewing it on Saturday, because it's a theater-only release. Another thing, we are casual viewers. We're not going to blow your mind with insider industry or movie buzz or release dates.
We also have pop-ups on our show. For 1, to fact-check us. And 2, it allows us to also film in one take.
So the set. Why are we sitting in a nightclub? We're actually launching 2 other shows, Beaker TV and Father and Son Corner. So if you haven't checked those out, make sure to do that. But what we decided was we'll just film from whatever set we have put in at the time. And today that happens to be a nightclub scene from Becoming Future, which will be on Beaker TV soon.
And we still have an ongoing discussion on whether we're going to be watching 1s and 2s just for the sake of giving something to watch. More to come.
And then finally, each episode, we're shooting for 15 to 20 minutes, 9 titles reviewed, and we'll probably add guests down the road. There's an app that we're working on, so more to come on a few of those. But overall, 15 to 20 minutes, 9 titles per episode. All right, and the last rule / FYI. Since you were young, we've had a rule that if you're going to watch something, like a movie that someone else wants to watch or whatever, it's the 20-minute rule. And you have to watch it for 20 minutes before you say no or try and bow out or anything like that. we are going to extend that rule to 5 Zabs. So 20 minutes guaranteed at a minimum. That's when you have your shot to try and bow out if it's needed. At the same time, when we talked about episodes, we figured that you have to watch at least 2 in order to give a ranking. So anytime we do episodes, maybe if it's because they're just coming out or it's something we've gone back on, we will watch a minimum of 2 before we give a ranking. So that wraps up the intent, the reasons behind why we're doing this, what you can look forward to each episode, and most importantly, the overall ranking system so that you can help to determine what to go view. We can't stress it enough. Our intent is to help you find good, solid entertainment.
Well, with that said, let's get episode 1 kicked off.
All right, so let's look at the titles for today's episode. We'll go through Till the Wheels Fall Off, Tony Hawk, The Batman, Glitch in the Matrix, The Atom Project, and our throwback this episode is The Manchurian Candidate. We'll also review our underrated picks each, as well as our all-time 5 Zabs. Today we will be covering comedy movies.
All right, so Till the Wheels Fall Off, Tony Hawk. True opinions. Let's have you start off.
So, documentary of Tony Hawk from when he was a kid to today.
Yeah.
My overall impression is, what a story.
Yeah.
What a story.
Great story. And I didn't know that much about him. And they tell you the whole story from the ground up, from when he was a kid and all the way he grew up, all the way to professional, and then even till now.
Yep.
And all the struggles he goes through.
So, being small caused him to be technical.
Yeah.
His dad running it wasn't organized, so his dad gets involved.
Yeah.
So when he starts winning,
That was crazy.
everyone's nope,
Yeah.
it's because his dad.
I know he had that on him.
How broke they got.
Yeah.
I was shocked at how broke they got before the video game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The video game part, when he gets the check and then he gets the advance, is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Well, you grew up playing that video.
Yeah, and that was great. Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff that I didn't know about him. And when he had to master that one move and he ended up doing it, it was pretty crazy. You know.
And then I've seen friends try tricks before when I was younger. Never at that level. It was really actually hard to watch.
Yeah, he didn't give up.
And to the point where it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then I will say this: there's one part near the end where it's very impactful. It was impactful for me when he's talking about his relationships, and he just says, "I'm not going to do that anymore."
Yeah.
And then what that causes, it was.
I didn't realize how strong of a mindset he had. He kind of had that Michael Jordan in him. I felt he would just do whatever it took to just get better at his craft.
Yes,
which I really enjoyed.
It's the mind of a champion.
Yeah.
And that's really what the documentary is about. Yeah. And there's lessons in there that one could take for themselves in any profession, in life. And then we talk about a lot, but you have to have the right people in the documentary. Yeah. And they hit it out of the park. Yeah. They had people that like him. Mm-hmm. They still had the guys that didn't like him. Yeah. Which I thought was very, they got everybody. Yeah. And I like that because documentaries have to get the right people.
And that dude, I forget his name, but he was one of the pro skateboarders ahead of him in his interview, and he was
the tough guy.
It was tough dude, and he was when he said to him at that one point, it was crazy. But that dude had me rolling. But he was so funny.
But it was so good that they had him on. So many times you can tell who paid for the documentary. Yeah. Right? If they're going to talk crap about somebody, then that person's not on. Yeah. So you miss half the story. Yeah. Right? If the person that it's about's on there, usually it's so slanted because it's the one they're approving. So they only approve, documentaries can be so slanted and agended. Yeah. This one, I felt like they got both sides. He's also very open and gives a lot of insight. Yeah. Also himself. But overall, what's your ranking?
Man, I gotta give it a 5 Zabs. Fantastic. For sure. What would you give it?
I give it 5 Zabs as well. It is fantastic. You should all go watch it, and I will be checking if you did or not. It's fantastic. It's what we're looking for.
For sure.
Okay. So next up is the movie The Batman. So it's the latest in the long history of Batman.
Yep.
What do you think?
It actually surprised me. Not bad. Obviously, it's no Dark Knight, but it's really good. And I like the different perspective of Batman, and I like the different perspective of Catwoman. I like how they brought a different look to it, for sure. It's really cool.
Overall, I like emo Batman.
Emo Batman.
Yeah, I like emo Batman.
Yeah.
Sad Batman for me, I thought it was pretty good. Definitely a different take.
Yeah.
But I will say less cheesy than most Batmans.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Christian Bale's a tough Batman to beat.
Exactly.
But I grew up with like Michael Keaton as Batman. No offense, but not a hard Batman to beat. And my God, much less Ben Affleck or something. So Sad Batman was actually really good. It was pretty good.
Yeah, even though you saw a lot of that story before where Catwoman meets Batman and then they have to fight the Riddler or whatever, even though it's that same story, it's still a different perspective of how they did it. And not to repeat myself, but
Catwoman for the first time ever wasn't cheesy.
yeah.
And then the villain, I liked it. They're like, we're gonna spend money on the movie, but the villain's gonna look like a normal. Like his outfit was, and his whole persona I thought was really good.
Yeah.
And then again, I think Twilight guy as Batman.
Yeah. Well, and it was
so unique.
Yeah, and it was actually one of those movies that it needed to be in theaters because of the action scenes and like the sound effects. It was more impactful because that's where I watched it. So it was more. I get why it came out in theaters instead of straight into the
right.
stream.
Aside from just money.
Yeah. But what would you give your review for it?
I'm giving it 3 Zabs. It doesn't quite make it to a 4 for me, but it's definitely better than Searching.
Yeah, for me, I'd give it a 3 Zabs. It's better than Searching. So, awesome. Glitch in the Matrix. So, overall summary. A bunch of interviews, people telling their stories and what they've kind of experienced to kind of tie into this theory of the Matrix, of it's just a simulation type other world on the other side, what they say, Yeah, it's that overall question of, are we in a simulation? Yeah.
What would, going back in time to the writer
who
did all those big movies, died super young, but had some crazy thoughts on things.
Yeah.
We'll put it this way first. It's so impactful that our next Father and Son podcast is around the documentary as well as just life and what are we here for? Could it be this? Could it be that? What are the different options and things to think about? It's that insightful or thought-provoking.
Yeah.
For me, let's go characters.
Right.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Every single one of the people is unique, and their perspective is, each one of them has some sort of their perspective that I think we all agree with.
Yeah, in some type of way, definitely.
Now, the second half of it might be, what they say after, it gets a little interesting.
Yeah.
But overall, I think when we talk about characters, every one of them is unique.
Well, it definitely opens your mind for a different type of thinking that you might have not thought of. And,
yes.
And it was coming from a somewhat educational standpoint too.
Very educated people, engineers, scientists, people who were raised religious, big IT type folks.
Yeah.
Some very educated and intelligent folks.
Yeah. Definitely.
And then how they said it to get drama or a nail biter somehow or a cliffhanger to a point in a documentary.
Yeah.
I did not realize that this documentary included that until it did.
Yeah.
And you just don't see documentaries that have that kind of boom.
Yeah, it's pretty refreshing, you know?
It was.
Mm-hmm.
We could go on Glitch in the Matrix literally for so long that again, we're moving it to our Father and Son podcast. Check that out if you'd want to. What's your ranking?
I have to give it a 5 Zabs. Love the directing. It's fantastic. What would you give it?
I give it a 5 Zabs. It's fantastic, and everyone should watch it. And it should. I think it will help you. It'll cause discussion.
Definitely.
I feel like it'll like make you think about things that maybe you haven't.
Definitely.
And that's such a, to me, that's such a huge, you know, if you put out an entertainment or a film or a story and it gets people thinking about stuff they hadn't and talking to people about it, what more are you looking for?
Yeah,
so,
great point.
Yep. Awesome. All right, next title today, The Atom Project. So it's Ryan Reynolds. They found a way to get us 2 of him, but he's from the future. He goes back in time, meets himself, and his mom, dad, everybody. So Ryan Reynolds back in time to save the Earth or something.
Yeah.
But I'll let you start because I think we both know where I'm at.
Oh yeah, you gotta love it, man. It's another Ryan Reynolds movie. He plays himself again. Like, he has the same character, I feel like, in every movie. He's one of those guys. And his comedy and his writing was all in it. You could tell to the kid that was supposed to be him. Honestly, it was a wasted night for me. Super industry. The comedy wasn't needed, I feel like. A lot of weightless comedy,
I felt like I got a box checked on me.
Yeah.
I feel like somebody was like, let's just throw out another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, he's getting to the point now where, and I like Ryan Reynolds, and I understand everybody likes him outside of acting, or we think they do, all that. But it's turning into like Taken 7. It's turning into like every Will Ferrell. I feel like he's Will Ferrell now.
Yes.
Same character every movie, and this one they find a way to do it double. But let's just call out a few things. Not only is it industry, no one can shoot anything, right? You can run down the middle of the street and the bullets just hit around you. So we're getting into all of that. Yeah. Everyone has to say something before they shoot someone.
Yeah.
I gotta get in my one line. Okay? They hit on every single heart tug moment.
Yeah.
Mom, when you were young and being a douche, and you get a chance to come back. Mom and dad before the divorce, after the divorce. The mean kid that picked on this one, the bully thing, the come around, the lost love.
Yeah.
And somehow they find a way to wrap it all up by the time it was over, or supposedly.
Oh yeah, and then it turned into like a sappy movie. It was a lot of unnecessary stuff.
I think
industry to the core.
I think we've spent enough time on this.
Yeah.
What is your ranking?
It's a 2 for me. Industry to the core. What do you give it?
It's a 1. It's a 1 Zab. It's garbage, and it actually made me angry. When I started watching it, I was like, I don't know. And by the time I was done, I was like, I just got fooled. I also want to point out, this is why the ranking systems, like we talked about, are so. This was number 1 for a long time. It should not be number 1 on anything. And again, Ryan Reynolds is great. He has some great movies, but this one is kind of just. I feel like I'd seen the movie already 5 other times,
exactly.
And then they double dipped me on it by adding the kid, acting the exact same way.
Yeah, you could do better.
Anyway, so you got a 2 for you, 1 Zab for me. Moving on.
All right, with our throwback, Manchurian Candidate. So overall, we got some soldiers, and apparently they get hypnotized, and then some crazy stuff happens.
So there was a book when I was in high school. They made us read it.
Okay.
Like Lord of the Flies, and you read Manchurian Candidate. I can't remember. I've read it.
Okay.
But it comes from like 50 years ago, or now 50 years before that, where it's the belief that a president or vice president gets under control of a separate entity
Oh, okay.
that can get them to do
Gotcha.
what they want them to do,
Okay.
which was
That.
what the vice president
Yeah.
in the Manchurian.
Yeah.
So Manchurian Candidate as a total, like overall means, I think, controlled, outside control. You know, now it kind of means that, like, oh, is he a Manchurian Candidate? Like, he's controlled by someone else.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's where that comes from.
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting it to turn that way because in the beginning they don't give that away. You know, they're just going through
Yes.
battle or whatever, and then all of a sudden one of the soldiers starts remembering things, and then everybody else starts remembering.
And then who's that soldier? Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
So what's it like seeing old Denzel Washington, or older films, younger Denzel Washington?
Yeah, that was really cool, and it was one I'm surprised I haven't heard every Denzel Washington film. You know.
Yep.
Because every single one seems to be a hit. But that one kind of swept under the rug, at least for somebody my age. But,
Same for me though. That was why we picked it. I was like, I don't remember this.
Yeah.
Where there's certain Denzel films I can quote from,
Exactly.
and this one was like
Yeah.
it kind of slid in.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. The directing and the story, and I'm not one of those poke high, everything in the past is better at all. Man, was that a well directed and well told story.
I would agree with that. I really enjoyed watching that film. Honestly, yeah, not much more I need to say. What would you give your opinion on your final review?
I give Manchurian Candidate 4 Zabs. It was really good and it's quality entertainment. What about you? What's your ranking?
I give it a 4 Zabs. I would recommend it to somebody my age and even other people in general.
Yeah,
really good.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Yeah.
It's better than, my God, it's way better than not knowing what you're going to watch tonight.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. So interesting throwback.
Yeah.
And Denzel made the list.
Does it again.
It's a reminder of how good he is. It's just there is a reminder there of how good he is.
Yeah, if people like to tie him into one of those people that play the same character, he really does. In my opinion.
I agree with that. He'll probably come across the list I'm sure on other throwbacks as we move forward, because he's in that. He's just everywhere.
For sure.
So. All right, well, now on to our underrated picks of the episode. What's yours, Evan?
Well, my underrated pick is The Ritual. And it's under, to give a brief summary for it, it's under the horror movie category. And so that might throw you off, but it's really not really a horror movie, in my opinion. It's just a well-told story. It's about a group of friends. They go do this ritual for their friend that had passed away into the woods. But then in the woods, there's a ritual that they have to figure out to get done with. Yeah, it gets crazy.
Awesome.
But definitely underrated.
And it's a movie?
It's a movie, yes.
Okay, nice.
Yes. What would you give your underrated?
My underrated that I'm going to go with is a series that just came out. It's called That Dirty Black Bag. It's a Western. Okay? Guilty as charged. It's got a lot of famous folks in it. It has one guy who makes... So anyway, it's a Western... In Western times, it's about different groups of people that, as they're telling their story, you're starting to see how they wind together. You can tell that's all going to come to a head. But I really like how it's told. It's told from these different perspectives. It's got a new school way of the directing. I really like it. And then actors-wise, it's got big-time actors. It's got one of the guys who just showed up in one of the middle episodes is the guy from Raised by Wolves, the one who turns into the tree at the end.
Oh,
the guy who has the stuff on his
mullet?
face. Yeah, the mullet.
Okay.
So you find out this kid's going back through his childhood.
Yeah.
And you find out how he gets to become this just cold-hearted killer.
Yeah.
And the guy who took him under his wing was that guy.
That's cool.
So that's cool. I like that guy.
Yeah, no, I
I
agree.
think he was in Vikings.
He should
too.
be in more films.
And kind of, he plays that same type of character, and he's not the main character by any means. There's the main character who carries the bag is good. The sheriff is good. There's and it's kind of evil, kind of good, and makes you. But it is the one thing I would tell everybody. It is brutal. They show some. They show some. They're bounty hunters. They're hunting people. So it's a little. It's not for the kids. But that dirty black bag, I haven't heard anybody talk about it, and it's a western, so you know I'm in. But it's a new school twist on it, and not in a way that you've seen in a long time.
Nice, for sure.
Definitely.
Good pick. All right, last category, all-time 5 comedy movie category for this episode. What's your all-time 5 comedy movie?
I have to do it. My all-time comedy movie for this episode is Hot Rod. It's
Could have saw that going.
it's too funny, and I'm interested to see if it's held up. I quote it almost daily without thinking about it. I have to say, it's all those people have turned into such big actors. I haven't liked something like Sandberg. I'm sorry, like I don't watch 911 and all that, Brooklyn 911. I don't watch any of that.
Yeah.
But I think he's so funny.
Yeah.
And I think all of them are so funny in this. So I'm Hot Rod. If you haven't seen it, you know what you're watching.
For sure.
You should watch it this weekend. It'll be fun. What's your all-time 5? One of your all-time 5 comedy movies?
All-time 5 comedy movie. I'm gonna have to say Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And for me, this hits a little harder because I saw it when I was younger with a friend, and we used to quote all the funny stuff out of that movie. But also, it is underrated in my opinion. So it's all-time and underrated, coincidentally. But it's really funny, and it's not that old. It's from like the 20 teens still. But it's got high prominent actors still. And yeah, Russell Brand's in there and some other people, and it's hilarious. It's really funny. I would recommend that to a lot of people.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining in to our launch of 5 Zabs, our first episode, and hopefully we gave you some things to go, some good solid quality entertainment to go watch.
Yeah, for sure. Good luck searching.
Tupadu.